Today is a very significant day in the Russian history. 76 years ago, on the 9th of May, the Great Patriotic War was over, and the Soviet people were celebrating Victory Day. And today I will tell you what this celebration, what this day means to me. Hi guys, my name is Ksenia. Welcome to my channel St. Petersburg Me. First, let's revise some numbers. So before the war, the population of the Soviet Union was about 196 million people, and after the war, the population of the Soviet Union was 170 million people. So pretty much easy maths gives us 26 million people were lost during the war, both civilians and soldiers. That, guys, is pretty much, I think. My second home country is Belarus, as you may already know. So before the Great Patriotic War, the population of Belarus was 9 million people, and after the war it was 6 million people. So 3 million people and even more died during the Great Patriotic War, and that makes that each third citizen of Belarus died during the war. So again, both there were civilians and soldiers, and except for this, on the territory of Belarus, Nazis established 260 concentration and death camps. Can you imagine that? Belarus is a small country, and 260 concentration and death camps? Isn't it too much? So those sad numbers are not the least numbers. 5.5 million people were taken prisoners and were sent to Germany for hard labor, and those people mainly and mostly were from Belarus and Ukraine, as those countries were the first on the Nazis' way into the Soviet Union. Many people of those also died in Germany while they were working hard for Nazis. And besides, those people who were returned to the Soviet Union didn't find their peace being at home, because the Soviet government oppressed those people. They were sent to Gulag and to prisons, and those who weren't, they had problems with finding jobs, and people are celebrating the Victory Day on a yacht. Nice. So those people who returned to Soviet Union were sent to Gulag, to prisons, and those who were not sent to Gulag or prisons, they had problems with getting education and finding jobs, because those people were considered as traitors by the USSR government, and they had a lot of difficulties in their lives living in their own country. So the USSR government thought that you had to do everything not to be taken hostage, not to be taken as prisoners. You could run away, die, or suicide, but not taken captive. It's insane, but it's like that. Besides, on the territory of Belarus, Nazis were holding an experiment. That experiment was burning down villages. So they gathered all the citizens of a village in a barn and set it to fire. And people died like that. Can you imagine just die of fire? It's such a horror. Oh my God! When I will go to Belarus to my mom, I will maybe I will make a video of such a village. It is called Khatyn, and now it's a place where you can visit and see all those citizens, just like a place of memory for those who died there. And in Belarus there were many of such villages that were just burned down together with all the people in those villages. It's unbelievable. And there are some places in St. Petersburg which keep the signs, the marks of the war, and they were not maintained or repaired intentionally on purpose for us, younger generations, to remember. And I will show you one of them, or maybe two, or maybe three. So this is the Hermitage, and this is the second building of the Hermitage, and these are Atlants, marble statues that were set here a long time ago. And this particular Atlant had a mark of the war. This side of him was damaged by a shell, and I saw it damaged, but as you can see now it is repaired. It was repaired. So I wanted to show you the damage, but it is repaired. You know, guys, this is the only case in Russia that I'm not satisfied with the repair works, because that was meant for us, younger generations, to remember, and now it is repaired. No, it's not right. I understand that maybe it was getting more and more damaged. Maybe that damage was getting bigger and bigger. Okay. Oh, all right. So, but maybe I know one more spot where those damages and those marks of a war are existent. And I hope that they were not repaired. So we'll show them to you. At the time of the Great Patriotic War, St. Petersburg had a name, Leningrad, and so Leningrad suffered a great deal in this war. It was sieged, and many people died. So the siege of Leningrad began on September the 8th of 1941 and lasted for 872 days. Soviet army lifted the siege on 27th of January 1944. The statistics say that 641,000 citizens died of hunger, severe frost, and artillery attacks. Other data and historians say that over 1 million people died in St. Petersburg during those years, those 2.5 years. So The most people died during the first winter of siege. So the parade in St. Petersburg was held here. You can see the seats for people who were invited. I watched the parade in other area of the city. So the most people died during the first winter of siege. That winter was very cold, with frosts lower than 30 degrees below zero. And Nazis destroyed warehouses which stored food and badly damaged the city's grid and other systems. That's why in winter people didn't have electricity, central heating and running water. In summer 1942, people and authorities who survived that winter started thinking how to survive next month to come. So the solution was to grow vegetables in summer. So they planted vegetables and potatoes, and every piece of land was turned into a vegetable garden, parks, yards, and even river banks. So this is the very place where people were growing vegetables in summer 1942. So compare the two pictures. Many people in Russia, and I suppose every citizen of St. Petersburg, know the tragic story of Tanya Savicheva. She was a 11 years old girl who lost all her family during the siege. They all died of hunger and diseases. She started a diary where she marked the dates of her relatives' deaths. It has 9 pages. 6 of them have records about her relatives' deaths. And the last 3 say the Savichevs died. Everyone died. Only Tanya survived. Tanya was found in her apartment by a group of nurses who were making rounds of apartments. She was very weak. Tanya was evacuated from Leningrad, but doctors didn't manage to cure her. 2 years later, Tanya died of tuberculosis and the severe condition caused by long-term famine. So that is a very sad story that was registered during the siege of Leningrad, and that period is a very tragic period in the history of the city, and many children of that times died. Not a very nice page of history, but we should always remember of that. So this spot is one of those places. It has a print, you can see a print, and such prints were printed in many places of the city, and it says, "Citizens, during the artillery attack, this side of the street is the most dangerous." So during the war, during the artillery attack, when the Nazis attacked the city by the fire, this side of the street was the most dangerous. One of the spots, this spot was left for us to remember. And this building was constructed in 1939, just before the war. So once you are in St. Petersburg, you can see this spot with this print on Nevsky Prospect. So this is Nevsky Prospect, not far away from the beginning of Nevsky Prospect. So the address is Nevsky Prospect 14. And here it is. So this is St. Isaac's Cathedral, and some years ago it contains the marks of the war. I hope that they are remaining right now. I hope I will be able to show them to you. You can see here and some more. So those are the marks of shells, artillery shells here. So those are the marks of the war on St. Isaac's Cathedral. I can see some other marks that were repaired. So can you see? Those are repaired, the signs and the marks of artillery shells. Oh, and you can see here is a very, very big damage. I think that those signs are maybe the only thing that can remind us of the massacre that people organized in Europe, in Russia, all over the world. So St. Petersburg was kind of a lucky city not to have been destroyed to the ground during the war, as many other cities in Russia, for example, Minsk, not in Russia, but in the Soviet Union. For example, Minsk, Smolensk, Vitebsk were almost 90 to 95% destroyed. And the authorities of the Soviet Union, of those cities, had to completely reconstruct and rebuild those cities. So, for example, in Minsk, there are a lot of wide streets, much wider than here in St. Petersburg. That is because it was completely destroyed during the war, and now there are almost no ancient buildings like in St. Petersburg that were built 300 years ago. You will hardly be able to find those in Minsk, for example. But the city suffered a lot because it lost a lot of citizens. I hope this kind of tragedy will not occur anymore anywhere in the world. And I think you will hardly be able to find any family in Russia who didn't suffer from war, whose relative had not been killed, or whose relative didn't take part in the war as a soldier. As for my family, my great-grandfather, my grandfather, and my uncle were fighting for our country. And you know, guys, I'm proud. I'm really proud of that. My uncle returned home with a severe leg injury. My great-grandfather died in the first months of war, and he went missing. He went missing in action, and only, I suppose, 2 years ago, my relatives found where he was buried. He was buried in an unmarked grave, but my relatives managed to find that grave, and this grave had a nameplate with the name of my great-grandfather on it, so that's how we found where he was buried. And up to like to 2019, my relatives didn't know the information. I was also looking for the information, but I didn't manage to find that, and they managed. My grandfather didn't participate in the Second World War, but he participated as a soldier in the Soviet and Japan war that broke out immediately after the Nazis were defeated. So as for me, I'm really proud of my three relatives who fought in the Great Patriotic War, who defended our country of fascism, who fought against fascism, and one of them died. I'm really proud of my relatives to defend our country, but I'm against wars. I'm against, completely, totally against armed conflicts between countries. I think diplomacy is the way to solve problems, is the way to solve conflicts. And I think that partnership and friendship are the sources of our society, our world's society to develop, to create more, to invent more, and not wars and killing people. So this is my opinion on wars. I'm against. And you know, guys, the Great Patriotic War is a vast topic here in Russia and in the post-Soviet world. But you know, last year our government signed a law according to which I can face a really big fine, up to like 500,000 Russian rubles, or even to be imprisoned if I will tell some or untruth or lies about the facts of Russia participating in the Great Patriotic War. So guys, I don't know what can be considered lies, so I don't want to end up in jail. So I think there are a lot of facts on the internet, there are a lot of books on these topics, and you can read that on your own without me, especially with such a condition. So, but for those Russians who will watch this video, maybe, I'm proud. I'm proud of my relatives. I'm proud of every person who fought for our country, and I truly think that everyone, every single person who died or who survived or who helped helped people, like medical staff, people who were working on the industries, who served for the purpose of the troops of the battlefield, they are heroes. They all, every single person, from the Soviet Union, from Russia, from Belarus, from Ukraine, Armenia, Georgia, and other countries, they are Tajikistan, Uzbekistan, they are all true heroes. And I'm really proud of them. And I'm really proud that we won this war, that we managed to restore our country, that our life became normal, and I hope that this will not be will not return to our life, that wars are not the method of solving problems between countries. I'm against wars in any form. So this is what I think about this day. This is how I'm proud of this day. This is how I'm grateful to all the soldiers who fought for our country. And this is my opinion on this day, on our history. And this is the story of my family regarding the war. So guys, thank you for watching. Thank you for being with me in such a day. And please write in the comments down below, maybe your relatives were participating in that war from your country. What do you think of this? How do you feel about this day? What day do you celebrate the ending of the war? And guys, see you in the next video. Bye.